So this is our problem number 7. Excuse me, class. This one has 10% NaOH. So and the problem is silent about us neglecting the boiling point rise. Although we can neglect the BPR in this case up to the percentage solid of 10%. In this case, since the problem did not say that we will neglect, so we will consider the BPR in this case. So we're given a feed rate of 20,410 kilogram per hour of 10% sodium hydroxide solution at a temperature of 48.9 degrees Celsius, and it's being concentrated. It's to be concentrated this time in a triple effect reverse feed evaporator. So unlike the first sample problem, which is forward feeding, this one is reverse feeding. That way you'll not get used on a material balance in which you always have the effect, the first effect, which where the feed is. Okay. Now saturated steam is available at 178.1 degrees Celsius, and it is to be fed to the first effect. So the manner of heating, class, is still starting on the first effect, and the pressure in the last effect is 10.34 kilopascal absolute. Now, by the way, if I failed to read this one, we need to concentrate our feed from 10% to 50% solid. So the heat transfer coefficient in this particular system is uniform for all your effects at 2,840 watt per square meter Kelvin. So in here, you are required to calculate the heat transfer area and the steam consumption rate. So area and A and S. Okay, so this is our problem. I've already taken a screenshot of such, so I need not transfer from this to the Jamboard. So I will now stop sharing and go to our board. Wait, class. Okay, so we will illustrate this particular problem now. We start with the illustration of a triple effect evaporation system. So you can have the first effect here. I suggest you take a screenshot, that way you need not wait when the link to the recording will be shared to you, and you can do your own practice later. So these are our evaporators, triple effect. We'll have a box for our calandrias for these effects. And since your steam, as mentioned in the problem, is supplied on the first effect, so this is your steam. So if it's the heating medium, the arrow is drawn until the representation of the calandria. So this is your steam. In the process, once it's spent already, you will have the condensate here. So condensate 1. Now, from this particular evaporator, the V1 of the first effect is heating up the second effect. So I will have here V1. And in the process, you will have condensate 2. Then the vapor of the second effect heats up the calandria of the third effect. And you have here your condensate 3. The vapor of the last effect either goes to the condenser if the problem is providing information. In this case, there's no information about it, so I will just simply write V sub 3. Okay, so this is what happens in terms of our heating medium. Now, since this is reverse feed, so your feed is introduced here on the third effect. So this is where your feed is. And the way you label your concentrated liquor is still the same. The way you label it based on the effect. Okay, the number of, or what is the number of effects. So in this case, I will have here liquor 3 introduced into second effect. Now, liquor 2 in the second effect is introduced into the first effect. So this is liquor 2, and you have here your final product, though this is not the usual case, withdrawn in the first effect, and that's your L1. Okay, now we'll see the specific information that is provided in the problem. So let me go back to my screenshot. So your feed, excuse me, 20,410 kilogram per hour. Okay, and then you have here XF equal to 0.10. And your solid, I'd like to place in here NaOH. Now, then your feed is at a temperature. So temperature of the feed is 48.9 degrees Celsius. So unlike the problem that we just solved, the last problem we solved, the temperature of the feed is not given. This one is specified. Okay, it's to be saturated steam is available at this temperature. So you have 178.1 degrees Celsius. And the pressure in the last effect is 10.34. So this is P sub 3. It's referring to the operating pressure of the last effect, and this is 10.34 kilopascal. Okay. Now your U1, your U2, and your U3 are all equal with a value of 2,840. So it's watt per square meter Kelvin. So these are our information. So in terms of our triple effect evaporation system, so we go to the required information. So required information is that we determine the steam consumption and the heat transfer area. So in this case, you'll be looking for A1, A2, and A3. Okay, now we go to the solution. So I'm sure you can still remember the first step, because anyhow, that's the first step in our in the last problem that we also processed. So the first step, so I'll place here step number 1, at a pressure of 10 point, what's the temperature? Pressure 10.34 kilopascal, you are to get the corresponding saturation temperature here, which is our T3. That way, that would be the boiling point, the saturation boiling point at this particular pressure. So if you have your property tables with you, can you help me out here? Kindly look for T sub 3. If it's not given in the exact value, please do interpolate. I'll also check from my end what's the value for such. If you're going to use pressure class in your table, if there's no pressure column, that is the first column is pressure, you can use the one that has the temperature. Anyhow, you can still read the temperature on the left side. So in my case, I don't have a pressure table, but I have a temperature table. That is the first column is temperature. So I will simply look for the 10.34 the 10.34 pressure here. So if this is the pressure column in kilopascal, I hope you're doing it there. While I'm waiting for you, I'll just write it here. And this is the temperature column in degrees Celsius. Now I need to find the 10.34 saturation temperature. So it's between, in my case, 9.593 and 12.349. The corresponding temperature for this 12.349 is 50. And for the 9.593, it's 45. So I'm looking for a temperature in between 45 and 50. So in this case, there's a need for you to interpolate. So can you give me the answer for this? I gave you already the columns that you will be using. What's your T3? So you have here a 9.593 minus
43.64.
Oh, thank you. I thought nobody is yet finished. So it's 46.36. So we have 46.36 degrees Celsius. So this is our step 2. Step 1 rather. So who can recall what's our step 2? So we took the boiling, by the way, so if you recall perfectly, if you're getting already the saturation temperature at the operating pressure of the third effect, you might as well get the what, because you also be needing it anyhow. What do you need to get? The, okay, somebody wrote in the chat box, you need to get the, yes, you need to do the overall material balance via, but that's based on the second step. But though it's not written specifically as one of the steps, using this particular pressure in the third effect, you'll be using another data later on. You are not still using it now because you're not yet in the step that will be using it. But do you recall what that particular information that you will be using later on that will still be dependent on this pressure? That way, you will not have to go back again in here and open again your property table to get that particular value. What is that? What is that particular data that is based on the pressure of the third effect? Does everybody remember? Based on your given information here, what particular data based on the pressure of the third effect will you be needing later on? Meaning it's still not step number 2, but it's probably step number 6 or 7. You will be needing it. But right now, since you are in your steam tables and you're using this pressure, you might as well read it from it, take it from it. What is that particular information? You have the what? You forgot already? What information? Thank you. Somebody wrote. The enthalpy. Thank you, Drexel. So you need the enthalpy of the vapor. The saturated enthalpy that is. Okay, so I will write here H sub 3. So in this case, class, you need the enthalpy as well. The enthalpy of the gas in kilojoule per kilogram. So in the same columns that you have made, you can place it here. That way you need not go back again on the same table and open. In here, I have the enthalpy of the saturated vapor at 45 to be 2583.2. I need the H3. And that's in between this value here and 2592.1. So can you give me the saturated vapor enthalpy? You'll be needing it actually in your energy balance. So I'm taking it now from the steam tables so that I will not go back to it later. So what do you think is the value after interpolation? Okay, we have 2585. So 2585.61. So we check. Thank you, Dexter. 2585. So wait. 2585.61. 61 kilojoule per kilogram. Okay, so this is not written as a step included here, but you will need it later. So you will just anyway read it from the steam table. So your second step, according to VIA, is that you are to do overall material balance. Okay, the goal of the overall material balance is to what? What's the goal of the overall material balance? The goal is to determine the you are to get the total amount of water evaporated. Okay, you get the total water evaporated, then that's the vapor, and the only way to do that is to do overall material balance. Okay, so that is our step 2. So okay, we go back to our board and you have overall material balance here. What would be our overall material balance in this case? What's your overall material balance? F? F what? Can you supply to me? F is equal to? Anyone? This is your system. What's your overall material balance here? F is equal to?
V.
The V plus?
L3.
L3. Okay, so Bia suggested, there's another here. F is equal to V plus L3 also. And that's John. And then Bia suggested V total plus L1. So which do you think of the three are correct? In this sense, class, it should not be V plus L3 because L3 is your effect number 3. Your final product is not L3 here, but rather L1. Okay, so it should be V plus L1. Okay, so Drexel, it should be V total. Okay, specifically, we're after V total plus L1. It should be L1. Why? Why it should be L1? Because our final product is L1, not L3. Because L3 here is being processed further in effect 2, just like L2. So your final product is L1. Okay, so this is reverse feed. This is not forward feeding. So V total, so para specific, V total plus L1. This is your overall material balance. So based on the given, you have 20,410. So 20,410 is equal to V total plus L1. So this is our equation A. Okay. Now we go to what else do we use so that we get the total water evaporated? What do? We do So based on our steps, the way it's okay, somebody wrote in the chat box. So we do overall solid balance. Okay, we do that. So we'll have overall solid balance. So in terms of overall solid balance, class, you have the solids present in the feed that has to be equal to the solids present in your final product, this time L1 x L1. Okay? Now, based on our given information, your feed has this amount of solid, which is 10%. So 20,410 times 0.10, and you have here L1. Do we know XL1? Do we know XL1? Okay, you don't know XL1 because probably I missed to write it here when I read the problem. Okay, the final product, let me read the problem. The final product is to contain 50% solid. Okay, I have, it should be 50% solid. So I miss writing this one, which is 50. Okay, so we go here. So this should be 0.5. You get it? Our final product is 50% solid. So it's now appearing here in your liquor one, not in L3, because your final product is in L1. So we have L1 now. So what's our L1? Can you give us the L1? Your L1 is 4082. 4082 kilojoule per kilogram rather, class. So kilogram, not kilojoule, because this one is amount. Okay, kilogram per hour. Now, I have already the L1. Can we do the balancing for the B total? So all you have to do is just substitute from A. So our equation A will give us the total water evaporated. Somebody wrote it in the chat box already, and that's 16,328. Ay, sorry, class. 16,328 kilogram per hour. So this time I did not use a basis. You may use a basis later on if you don't have to carry the, you don't want to carry the unit time. 4,410, and you have this. Now the next step is for us to determine V1, V2, and V3. And you've learned that it should be 16,328 divided by 3. Okay, what's our answer here? Okay, let me check. Somebody wrote already 5442.67. So meaning in each effect, I will just move this in the side. 5442.67. This is the amount of water evaporated in each of our effects. So by the way, when we determined this already, when we did overall material balance and determined the vapor evaporated in each effect, which is our first assumption, that's already step number 3. The next step, the fourth step, is to determine the liquors, the concentrated liquors in each effect. Now, since you know already L1, then there's a need for you now left to determine only the L2 and the L3. Okay, so we will do material balance for that. Okay. Material balance on effect. Where do you wish to do material balance? On effect number. So we can start with effect number 3. Okay, or you can start with effect number 2. Now, but effect number 3 is better because your feed is already known. So when you do material balance in effect 3, what do you have here? What's your material balance equation? The feed is equated to the what? Can you place on the chat box? So this would be L3 plus V3. And you have L3, and then you have 542.67. And you have L3 now equal to? You give us L3? 14,967.33. So this is kilogram per hour. So I think you know what to do for material balance on effect 2. So when you do material balance on effect 2, what comes in on effect 2 is what? I still see the same. I see the same names here on the chat box. What about the others? How do we do material balance on effect 2? I'll go to our illustration so you will have a guide. How do we write the material balance for effect 2? So I need to ask your scores because as I have said on Friday, Ms. Alma will assign you to take pictures of all the pages. Can I have Fritz? What do you think is the material balance equation for effect number 2? We need to determine L2. So you have the stream entering effect 2 to be L3. What are the streams leaving effect 2? That would be L2 and V2, right? Is that
Yes.
it? So the feed for effect 2 is L3. The streams leaving effect 2 are L2 and V2. Okay, so it's really important that we first do material balance on effect 3 because we need L3. But just the same, if you started with material balance on effect 2, you will later on know that you will have to set it as an equation because you can solve anything from it. Then you will proceed with material balance on effect number 3. In this case, you have learned that you will have to start with material balance on effect number 3. So in this case, you have 14,967. So I will copy. Oh, wait, guys. 14,967.33. I will have L2 and your V2. 5442.67. So you have now L2. So what's our L2? Can we have L2, Vincent? Oh, I now already supplied it. So 9,524.66. So this is kilogram per hour. After finding the liquors, I think you should know what's the next. It's actually the next thing, even if you don't have to check with the steps. You know already the concentrated liquor. So the next step will be so this is step 6. The next step will be class 5 pa lang gali, advanced si Miss. So 5, you will do You do what? Then let me see the chat box. What will you determine? You do what? Di daw ka given naman na nabalaan nyo na ang concentrated liquors. Anong dason kaya nabalaan nyo na ang concentrated liquors? You will determine the solids. You will determine the solids. You know already the solid in the first and in the last defect because it's needed in the first place. It's always stipulated in the problem. So you need to determine the solid in the second effect. So we do, this time you do solid balance on effect number 2. When you do that, then it's being copied in here. You just take out the V because it should not have any entrainment. I'm referring to your effects. Okay, you have L3 XL3 equal to L2 XL2. So I will copy here because it's already available. And you have XL2 and L3 14,967 14,967.33 and this is to be 0.10. Can you give me Excel 2? So 0.22. Okay, so we're here, right? In the previous problem that we have solved, we skipped step 6, 7, and 8, I think, because we don't have any BPR. So this time, we will determine the BPR of each of our effects. So we're now on step 5, and the next step to that is to determine the BPR in each effect. So how do we do that? In determining the BPR class of each of your effects, you need the solid content. You need the solid content of the liquors in each of the effect. The very reason why that before this particular step, there's a need for you to determine the XL, or the, in this case, it's already given the XF. So you need to determine the XL for effect 1, 2, and 3. And we have it all now with us. So I will summarize everything in here for step 6. That way we need not go back to each of those values in our pages. Okay, so XL1, that's 0.50. That's the solid content of our product. XL3 is 0.10. Let me check. My memory is... Yes.
Do you maka-feed, miss, ang 0.10?
Wait ha. Iyaka-feed ang 0.10. Where, Jericho? What you mean, iyaka-feed ang 0.10?
Feed gamit mo sa L3 at L3.
Ay, sorry.
Pero XF mo na, miss.
I-check ko yun. I-check ko ha. XL3. Oh, we don't have XL3. So that's XF. Thank you for that, Jericho. So we need to do first solid balance in effect 3. Thank you for that. So effect 3, solid balance. So we'll have the feed and the solid content of the feed. We have L3 and XL3. You have 20, 4, 10 here. And this is 10%. L3 is, what's the value, Are? 14,967.33. And it's to be multiplied to XL3. So I can now go to this page and erase this first. So we'll have XL3 to be 8 class. XL3 to be, this is our equation. XL3 is so we have your equation is in here. Vincent, can you find XL3? Vincent, are you with us?
Yes, Miss. Ga-chat ko, Miss. Sure, point 13, Miss.
Okay, I already had it here. Sige. 0.136. So I will just write na lang XL2. So we'll have a summary of 0.22 and XL1, which is 0.50. The final solid content, which this is actually our final product, L1. Now we go to step 6. And as I was saying a while ago, you need the solid balance. That way you can find the BPR. So from, we call it, I think I've mentioned it with single effect, you get it from the Durings chart. You get the BPR from the Durings chart and you will have BPR1. I'll get it here. BPR2. I'll just place all in here. BPR3. The boiling point rise or the boiling point elevation of each of your effects is actually the boiling point of the solution as written in the chart. dP of the solution minus, so minus the saturation temperature. In this case, this is, if it's 1, then this should be 1. T1, you have T2, and you have here T3. The corresponding difference between these two is said to be the boiling point rise of your solution. Because class, the principle bala sang boiling point rise is as we increase the solid content of our solution, it will not actually boil on its saturation temperature. It will boil at a much higher temperature due to the presence of those solids. So the increase in the boiling point due to the presence of these solids is our BPR. As much as possible, the way evaporators are designed is that we will lessen, if not totally eliminate, the BPR because it will actually lessen or reduce our summation of delta T, which is our driving force for heat transfer. If the delta T effective is small, the rate of heat transfer is also small. So we would like as much as possible to lessen the value of the boiling point of our solution, which cannot be avoided, especially if the solid content of our solutions are greater than 10%. So what will you use in this case? So I have here, I will share to you, I have a picture of the Durings chart. I'm sure you have seen this as well. I'll share a new one. Where is it? Oh, here. Where you're going to read the boiling point, right? So this one is the boiling point of your solution without the solids, and that would simply correspond to the boiling point of pure water. Okay, horizontal is the boiling point of the water, and in here you have the boiling point of the solution in degrees Celsius. So if you have already the boiling point of the solution, then you'll be able to get the BPR. All you have to do is subtract the boiling point of water from the boiling point of the solution. Now, you need, as I've said a while ago, you need the solid content of your solution with the temperature, the saturation temperature of that particular solution. How? So, for example, the saturation temperature of your solution is only 70 degrees Celsius. Now, let's say that solution contains, what's the highest here? Contains 25% solids. So, I'll go to this line here. This one, the second to the last line, which is for the 25% solids. So instead of boiling at 70 degrees Celsius, now your solution will boil at around 76 degrees Celsius. Allow me to increase so you will see. Okay, let me just put this on the side. So if you have, wait, okay. So if your boiling point, for example, as I was saying, is 70, so you go up, you rest on the 25, let's say 25% solid solution, whatever solution that may be. This one is not for NaOH, by the way. And then you just read here on the left the corresponding boiling point of your solution. So in this case, this is around 76 or 77. So your BPR in the example that I have stated is your 76 minus 70. So the BPR, the rise in the elevation is 6 degrees Celsius. Okay, based on the 25% solids that your solution has. Okay, now let me erase here. For NaOH, this is the one that I got from McCabe. So I place here from McCabe. This is for sodium hydroxide because this is the only system that has the available chart. So for your sodium hydroxide in water, which is said to boil, let's say, for example, the saturation temperature, by the way, this is English units. So let's say your temperature is 200 and your percent solids, I'll pick the highest here so it won't be difficult. Let's say 70% solids here, 200 to 70, projecting it up. Now your solution is expected to boil at this particular temperature already. So more or less, this is 340. So a very big leap. So from 200 to 340. So your BPR is 340 minus 200. Imagine this 140 degrees Celsius increase in boiling point. That would be the same amount of temperature that will be subtracted from your delta T, which is actually directly proportional to the amount of heat that is being transferred. So this is how your NaOH Durine lines chart would look like, okay, in McCabe. So if you have your Janku, please, let me check if I have here my Janku, please. Give me a minute. I'll check on, before I go to Janku, please, anyway, more or less the same lang man ay sila. This is the way it look. Minimize. This is the way your Durines chart in your handbook would look like. So I'm sharing this to you. That way you will be familiar on the chart that you will be using later on in the board exam in your handbook. So what do you have in here? Let me check if I can increase. Okay. Okay, so you need here the solution temperature. You see the solution temperature here in degree Fahrenheit. So this is where you're going to start. The solution temperature is the temperature of water if there is no solid present on it. Okay, the water in your solution. For example, we talk about sodium hydroxide. Okay, I will annotate again. This is your sodium hydroxide class in your handbook. Okay, that's your sodium hydroxide. And let's say the saturation temperature is solution temperature, let's say, anong pinakahapos, diriguro sa babaw. Okay. Pwede natin. So let's say your saturation temperature is 20. No, not 20, 140. I'm using this one, the 140, because this one is already boiling point rise. Careful, this one is for solution temperature and this is already boiling point rise. So what you're going to do from the 40 here, you use your straight edge, your ruler, you connect this dot here, which is your NaOH. I'm not so sure if I will have a good stroke here. Basta i-connect mo ni siya dire. Let's say that's your connection class. Then let's say this NaOH solution of yours has, let's say, 50% solids. You see this weight percent solids here. So you have to strike through here. From this dot that you have made, you strike through in here. Straight line until you reach this side. You see this side here? It's right on more or less 82 or probably it's 80. That's already the boiling point rise. You see this? That's the boiling point rise of your solution. So from an original solution temperature of 140, if it have a boiling point rise of 80, then your boiling point of the solution, now the new boiling point is 140 plus 80, and that's 220 degrees Fahrenheit. What is good about what is available in your handbook is you have a lot of solids here. It's not only limited to sodium hydroxide. And you have also an example here on what you're going to do if you have a case of a solution containing calcium chloride, then it has 22% solids. That's the same thing that you will follow if you will be using this Doring chart in your handbook. Okay? So that's how you use your handbook, the Doring chart in your handbook. So that's the reason why you should have your handbook, because it's the one that you're going to use. It's not limited only to NaOH water system. So damo siya solids.